There are two common mistakes that many Christians make concerning Bible commentaries. One mistake is to rely so heavily on the teaching of Bible commentators that you never learn to study and understand the Bible for yourself with the Spirit of God as your teacher. That leads to a very shallow faith and a weak grasp on what you yourself truly believe. At the opposite extreme, many Christians make the mistake of refusing to consult Bible commentaries at all, missing out on the input and the fellowship of godly students of the Bible for centuries. I'm blessed to own Bible commentaries from numerous writers, many in books and many others digitally. I never treat any one man's thoughts on a passage as the authority. Only the Bible is the authority. But after I've studied a passage of Scripture for myself with the Spirit's guidance and drawn my own conclusions, I'll then read the thoughts of 5 or 10 or sometimes 20 different men to see what they gleaned from the passage. There's no published Bible commentator whose thoughts I value more than those of the Baptist theologian John Phillips. John Phillips was born in Newport, South Wales on February 11, 1927. His parents were godly people. His dad was a businessman and a lay preacher. When John was a boy, he was very athletic and he loved sports, but he had a severe problem with his eyesight, and from the age of 10, he wore very thick glasses. While this ended his ambition in sports, it opened the door for the passion that would define his life, reading. He spent many hours in the library as a boy, and he devoured books for the rest of his life. John graduated from high school when he was 15, and he went to work at a bank in Wales. Then when he was 18, John was drafted into the British Army. As he traveled to basic training, he was convicted that his walk with the Lord was too weak to endure being in the military. So he fully committed his life to the Lord right there on the train. When he arrived at the barracks, the first thing he did was lay his open Bible on his bunk, so everyone would know he was a devoted Christian. After basic training, he was sent to Egypt to await his assignment. A friendly officer asked him where he would like to be sent, and John said, Palestine. He was stationed at Haifa on the coast, about 7 miles from Mount Carmel. On his first day off, John went to Mount Carmel and set out to go to the top of the mountain. He was surprised to find about halfway up the mountain a small building with a sign for a Plymouth Brethren church. After meeting John and hearing his testimony, they asked him to preach the following Sunday. And since they had no pastor, they then asked him to preach there every Sunday that he was off duty. John Phillips learned to preach in a little church on Mount Carmel. After the military, John moved with his parents to Vancouver, Canada, where he was hired at a bank. His parents moved on to Chicago, so John got a small apartment and he was all alone. After work each day, he had nothing to do but walk around town. One day as he walked, he spotted a typewriter in a store window. He saved up his money to buy it, and that launched his love for writing. John met a girl at church named Jean. They quickly fell in love, and they were married less than a year later. John kept getting promoted at the bank in Vancouver, which would cause him to occasionally be transferred. They wound up in a logging village in Prince George, Canada, and the only good church they could find was a German-speaking Baptist church. There were some other English-speaking people in the church, so soon John started an English Bible study in his home. This led to John, his wife, and their 3 daughters starting an English-speaking Baptist church in Prince George. The church was growing, and the people loved the Phillips family. Then John received an invitation from Moody Bible Institute to come and be their accountant. He had never heard of Moody Bible Institute, so he threw the letter away. They persisted. And so with the counsel of his childhood friend, Pastor Stephen Alford, John and his family moved to Chicago. He worked at Moody as an accountant, and he also preached on the radio regularly and in area churches on Sundays. John Phillips began to publish his books, including Bible Explorer's Guide and his commentary on Romans. After about 10 years, Moody Bible Institute sent John and his family to Georgia as a representative, and he got to know preachers throughout the South. They loved his preaching and his thought-provoking books. New friendships and ministry connections caused John's Bible commentaries to become even more well-known. After John's wife Jean died, he married Betty Lightfoot in 1998. They moved to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where John Phillips continued to write and to travel and preach. As he aged, he began to suffer from Alzheimer's disease. His constant request to his wife was, "Please don't let my work die when I do." John Phillips died on July 25, 2010, at 83 years of age. His funeral was officiated by Pastor Bobby Robertson at the Gospel Light Baptist Church in Walkertown, North Carolina. You ought to visit the website drjohnphillips.com, where you can purchase his books and find audio and videos of his preaching. His commentaries on the entire New Testament, as well as many Old Testament books and numerous other Bible study tools, will greatly strengthen your faith. Christian, never stop growing in your knowledge of the Scriptures. Stay the course.